and the thumb lends its efficiency to all other fingers. The self in us, index finger, discovering its oneness with the Brahman, thumb, is the infinite experience represented by the circle formed by the thumb and the index finger, which in Hindu thought is declared as the experience divine. I see.
So the thumb facing the fingers is the highest state of evolution.
Yes.
And then so this is the self trying to discover. So
Shunya. You're also going towards the shunya when you're doing meditation, and that's why your calm zero state.
Yeah, I'm just trying to go analyze piece by piece. So the self in us, the little finger, okay, discovering its oneness with the Brahman. This is representing Brahman. So ye pehle yahan par hai. So now it's trying to discover Brahman. So it came here, and when it joined with it, it discovered it. Okay, फिर आगे पढ़िए.
This experience is the realization of the one without a second, indicated in the Gyan Mudra by the upper half of the thumb jutting out from the circle, the infinite.
So this is infinity because it's circle.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And now this is like, it looks like a one, right? One without a second. There's no other.
Infinity का symbol भी तो यही है.
Yeah. Infinity का symbol भी यही है. See, imagine.
Yeah.
Infinity.
इतनी मतलब कितना साइंस है इसके पीछे. अभी नहीं उन्होंने बना दिया कोई मुद्राएं. So अगर हम उसको अगर ये सोच के हम लोग बैठेंगे तो कितना फायदा होगा हमें what we are doing. Imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, that means you're going from the gross to the infinite.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Beautiful.
Straight. Yeah.
Yes.
We're going up
Yeah.
straight.
And this represents, and then to tell you even more.
Maybe I was too young to understand the mudra that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Krishna is no
Because I
doubt.
always use this
Oh,
mudra.
okay, sorry. Krishna is no doubt an objectified representation of the formless, infinite truth, and therefore we ever prostrate to Sri Krishna, the Paramatman. As such, in all these stanzas where Krishna is invoked, we can actually read two interesting interpretations. One directly speaking of the manifested Krishna, the other secretly indicating the self which has manifested itself as Krishna.
So now everybody understood कि it is like a manifested one because उन्होंने बोला ना cane है उनके हाथ में और वो cows को ये कर रहे हैं. That is one manifested हो गया और ये ज्ञान मुद्रा से वो indicate दे रहे हैं कि वो formless has come as form.
Our identification with the matter and envelopments of the body, mind, and intellect give rise to the conception of a false ego in us, suffering the endless sorrows of its finitude and limitations. It is this ego that is struggling hard to liberate itself from the shackles of its own limitations. Now, to the extent the ego strips itself of its matter vestures, to that extent the essence is the ego, the self is realized.
So how is saying that आत्मा को कोई छू नहीं सकता पर हम लोग जैसे चादर ओढ़ ली हो ऊपर से चादर ओढ़ ली और अब हम सोचते हैं कि हम वो चादर हैं and then because just imagine if we put a lot of restriction on ourselves we can't move around and we feel so tight and this thing but he's saying that the more we break ourselves away from this, the more we connect to the higher. It's shedding all our limitations, that's what basically. It's just a way of explaining, but everybody got the gist what he's trying to say, right?
The self in us is the perfect, the infinite. Desires are our plans, which our limited intellect conceives in order that it may escape from its own sense of imperfections and come to attain the imagined joys of perfection. The perfect can have no desires. The perfect knows of nothing to desire for, nor can it be in want of anything. To the extent, therefore, the ego surrenders itself to Krishna, the self, to that extent it is ending all its sense of desires. At last, when it has totally rediscovered that Lord Krishna is its own real nature, it has surrendered completely and can no more have any desire that is not fulfilled.
So here he's just telling you that the reason we have desire is because we don't know ourselves. And we think कि कुछ मिलने से हमको desire fulfill हो जाएगी, we'll get happiness, and then somebody was saying you always get happiness inside, you feel the happiness inside you. The things don't have happiness. It's just a false relationship you have created with them. That's all.
The life in us expresses itself in the world outside, both in its choking monstrosities as well as its throbbing beauties. Life is that drives the ego, the animal in us, into its varied fields of sense gratifications. The life in us, again, is the very force that drives the aspiring part in us to the path of religion and philosophy and maintains us therein, making us march ahead till we reach the end of our evolution. Thus, Krishna here is rightly indicated to be the self by the symbolism of the cane with which he tends the cattle, and the Gyan Mudra by which he instructs and guides seekers to discover their own essential personality divine. To this great self, who had milked the nectar of the Gita for all generations to come, we offer our prostrations.
So he gave why he called that he has a cane in his hand, because the animal in us, we do both the things. We have both the faculties, either to go this way or this way. But he's just directing us gently, right? Come this way. Cattle ko yahi to karna padta hai, idhar udhar bhagte. Come this way, and then he has a Jnana Mudra, say come. And I think that our Lakshmi ji over there was telling us that they always have this and this. So this is, what did she say? What is, come to me and I'll give you. Something like that. And this is asking them to get attention. Come to me, and this is like, I'll give you the moksha. So ऐसे और ऐसे होते हैं उनके हाथ.
Okay, yeah.
So this was the symbolism part. They also say that this thing, when you do that, this it's like an acupuncture type thing.
Yeah.
It helps you calm down.
Yeah.
So that's the practical side of that.
Right.
But there's two things. Otherwise, what does it do for you? Yeah, this is the representation, but this also helps.
Right.
calming your mind.
So I think that this is usually all the practices that our Rishi Munis have come up with. They have so many other benefits. It's mind-boggling, And in the Western world, they are more body-oriented and all that, so they a little bit get stuck with, like even yoga, they will get stuck at only like asanas and things like that. But if you want a complete full benefit of yoga, so if you do what Patanjali said in the 8 steps, it can take you to moksha. That is the purpose of it. But they get just stuck at the asanas. So, but while you're doing that, your body gets tuned anyway. See what I'm saying? You're trying to go for a higher goal, or the lower one gets automatically fixed. So then that what they tell you is that why don't you shoot for the higher? I think that it was Vivekanand who said something like, you can hunt a lion while you're going after like a mouse. Go for the bigger things, that's what he says. Okay. Oh yeah, let's go to the chapter 1 now. So we had done the first verse, if you guys remember, Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre.
So this was the one which we did now was
Dhyan
Gita
Shloka.
Dhyanam.
Gita Dhyanam.
Madhusudan
so that's part of the
Saraswati.
Gita.
No,
Anytime you start with Gita, generally this
the whole thing they chant.
We
they
chant
chant
these.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Gita Dhyanam. is
The
called
reason I'm
Gita
not doing the
Dhyanam.
whole thing together,
It's too long.
yeah, too long, but in this way you will get to know what is in Gita Dhyanam. But this Gita Dhyanam came later on, because Swamiji always says that to study anything, you have to tune your mind to it first. So this is like it's a
Tuning
practice
it.
of tuning the mind, having respect for all of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna Bhagwan, Vyasji, and all, and then we'll see what rest of it comes. Then it's a lot easier. फिर वो ज्ञान जाएगा, साफ कर रहे हैं हमारे, scrub कर रहे हैं हमारे mind को. That's all it is. But actual Gita is started from like verse 1 where that we did Dharam Kshetre, Kurukshetre, and now we are going to go
So are we doing all the mantras of Gita?
all
the
700.
shlokas?
All
We are doing
700.
all
yes.
700. We are not skipping like.
No,
Okay.
I'm not skipping anything of Bhagavad Gita itself.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not skipping anything.
So,
but I
someone
think
wanted to know if anybody wants the Bhagavad Gita by this Krishna Kana. What's his
Swamiji.
name?
Hare Krishna,
हाँ.
you mean
Sudha
Prabhupada ji.
Prabhupada
तो वो तो इधर हरे कृष्णा से मिल जाएगा.
I know, but someone wants to donate.
Donate मतलब?
मतलब उनके
Give
हाथ
it.
में चार
They
पन्नियाँ
want to
हैं,
give
want
it.
to get rid of them.
It's
That's
too
the
many they
Somebody
have.
wants, yeah.
They don't.
Oh, because I already have Prabhupada ji. So
So
So if anybody else wants.
yeah. Because that's also very good.
Yeah.
All of them are very good. Well, I'll keep that in mind if somebody wants it. Okay,
We
so
can ask the temple if they want.
yes, temple can.
Then we can
Can
leave it
Temple
here.
should have a library
Hmm.
actually. They should have.
Okay,
Jain-
let's focus
Jains में
on.
तो होती है library. Jain temples always are.
We can discuss that after this, otherwise we'll miss this. What's the time?
One thing I just want to discuss about desirelessness. We say desirelessness. They say you can have the desire, but it should not be for ambition. It should be for a higher goal. So that's yeah.
So when we go through the
And
verses,
without attachment.
right? When we go through those are all absolutely right point. When we go through the verses, it will open it up what desirelessness means, because the moment we say desirelessness, we say, why am I doing anything? Because there's a
Yeah.
confusion of what it means.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean that the desirelessness person doesn't do anything. He does 10 times more work,
Yeah.
but his inspiration comes from somewhere else.
Hmm.
He's not doing it for personal gain. But in that process, everything else is taken care of him anyway. It's like, that's why I said that they say go hunt for the lion. All the अगर तुम जंगल के राजा बन गए तो सब कुछ तुम्हारे कंट्रोल में तो वैसे ही होगा. So as we go, it will open it up. That will be in chapter 3 and 4. So here is a verse 2. Sanjaya Uvacha
Sanjaya Uvacha
Drushtva tu Pandavanikam
Drishtva tu Pandavanikam
Vyudam Duryodhanastada
Vyudam Duryodhanastada
Acharyamupasangamya
Acharyamupasangamya
Raja Vachanama Bravit.
Raja Vachanama Bravit.
So just to remind you, the first verse was Dhritarashtra was asking that what did the sons of Pandu and also my people do when desirous to fight? They assembled together on the holy plain, field of Kurukshetra of Sanjaya. So we already went in detail all the symbolism about it. So now Sanjay is answering. So Drishtva is having seen, Tu is indeed, Pandava Nikam, the army of the Pandavas, Vyudam, in the battle array. Duryodhana. I'm sorry?
Reading the second, yeah.
Duryodhan is Duryodhan. Tada is then, Acharyam, the teacher, Upasangamya is having approached. Raja is the king. Vachanam, speech, Abravit is said. So before we go into it, some people said there's so much psychology. Remember, this whole Bhagavad Gita is about psychology also. Because Arjuna had a nervous breakdown and Krishna Bhagavan was like a psychiatrist who turned his mind around. So even in other shlokas, there is a lot of psychology. So it started with Dhritarashtra Uvach, right? Dhritarashtra is asking. And we learned last time that Dhritarashtra was very attachment mein jakda hua tha sara. He could only see his own sons and he was calling them others and blah blah and all that, right? So now Sanjay is also doing the psychology here. Sanjay is he's like a Sanjay में जिनकी इसकी इंद्रिया कंट्रोल में हो, जिसका माइंड समत्वम में हो, means his equanimity of mind is Sanjay. That's the meaning of his name. So when he asked, he didn't start talking about Pandavas first. He started talking about his own sons first. Duryodhan, because he knew that he wants to know about what Duryodhan is doing, so that's why he first picked Duryodhan to say what he is doing. So that's one psychology here. Let's read what translation. Maybe somebody else can read. Now you can read, Meenaji.
Okay. Having seen the army of the Pandavas drawn up in battle array, King Duryodhana then approached his teacher Drona and spoke these words. From this stanza onwards, we have the report of Sanjaya upon what he saw and heard on the war front at Kurukshetra. When Duryodhana saw the Pandava forces arrayed for battle, though they were less in number than his own forces, yet the tyrant felt his self confidence draining away. As a child would run to its parents in fright, so too Duryodhana, unsettled in his mind, runs to his teacher Dronacharya. When our motives are impure and our cause unjust, however well equipped we may be, our minds should necessarily feel restless and agitated. This is the mental condition of all our tyrants and lusty dictators.
So here, everybody kind of knows the Mahabharata story, and if you don't, then basically it is like their army. The proportion was 11 to 7, means if that was 11 million people, these guys had 7 million, something like that, you know. So, and we know that Krishna's army was with him too, with Duryodhana. Everybody knows that, right?
Yeah.
So,
Krishna's army was?
yeah.
With
With
Duryodhana.
Yes, he asked for it. Yes, yes, he asked for it.
So from the physical perspective,
Yes,
they were ahead.
yes.
You know, I got more weapons, I got the more skilled people. And Krishna's Narayani Sena means, man, it's like undefeatable. In those days, that's how they looked at it. So from that perspective, he shouldn't have the fear.
Yeah.
But why did he have the fear? Because अधर्म की वजह से. So हम लोग में भी कोई बुरा काम गलती से किया तो you can't sleep. It's bothering us. So then, say, what do you do when you get all like this? You run, little kids run to the parents. But then sometimes they're
Yes.
extra sweet to you. So you say, what have you done?
Yeah, yeah.
So something, keep that psychology in mind. So he goes to,
His teacher,
Dronacharya.
Dronacharya.
So Krishna had an army also.
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
Narayani
yeah,
Sena,
yeah.
बहुत
दुर्योधन
बड़ी
ने
army
आर्मी तो
थी.
ली थी अर्जुन ने
नारायणी
कृष्ण को
से-
चूज किया था he chose the army.
Army.
No, no,
वो
I
का-
know. I'm saying, was he a king or something? At that
Yes,
time?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
वो
I
तो
don't know.
okay.
That's what I'm asking. So
ओके सो ही द्वारिका के किंग थे. तो क्या हुआ कि कृष्ण भगवान का कि उन्होंने वो कंस को मारा था, राइट? तो कंस का राज्य भी बेसिक टेक्निकली उनके पास, लेकिन उन्होंने कंस के फादर को वापस दे दिया वो राज्य. फिर उन्होंने जाके द्वारिका नगरी बसाई. मथुरा में भी
मथुरा
थोड़े
तो
दिन
छोड़
थे
गए थे, हाँ.
हाँ. द्वारिका नगरी is on the water. And then he was the king, but it is also told that very rarely his brother was basically taking care of it, and his mantris and all that. But there are, if you go in Bhagavatam and all that, उन्होंने काफी लड़ाइयाँ की हुई है. Many
तो
different
कहाँ?
rakshasas and this and और वो एक कौन सा
Constantly
जरासंध
लड़ते ही
था.
रहते थे ये लोग.
जरासंध से भी कितनी लड़ाइयाँ की उन्होंने.
उसका नहीं मेरे को.
हाँ, इनफैक्ट उनको रन छोड़ भी बोला गया. 18 बार उन्होंने की थी और उसको हरा नहीं पाए थे. फाइनली ही one time he ran away from the battlefield because he said कि his purpose in life was to establish the dharma, not just to defeat this. So he had a bigger picture. And that's why even in Mahabharata, certain times he did something which may be called unethical, but because of the higher purpose, he had to do it. You know, like जब उन्होंने बोला कि अश्वत्थामा मारा गया, तब उन्होंने उसको
कितनी
बोला
दफे
कि
करा है, बहुत जगह.
2-3 बार ऐसा हुआ.
कर्ण को भी वो मरवाया एक तरीके से.
हाँ,
और
हाँ.
दुर्योधन को भी बोला ना कि अपने वो अपनी माँ के सामने ऐसे ही जाएगा.
हाँ,
हाँ.
So his job was much bigger one than why he came on this earth. Yes.
Here they also given the meaning of Duryodhan. Dur means difficult, and Yudh means it's difficult to fight. So that means and Duryodhan represents our mental desires. So it's very difficult.
Very difficult to fight. Very
That
nice. Yeah, I've heard
desires.
that too.
Yeah.
Duryodhan, difficult to defeat.
See, that's what I mean. Every name has a meaning behind, which
So,
is appropriate
if you
for
want
that.
to go
Yeah.
back into all this, they also said that Ramayana was conceived by the Rishi before it happened. He
Yes.
wrote the Ramayana before it happened. So it's like somebody gives you a script. Okay, go do this. Believe or
that-
not. So you can say the same thing about Mahabharata. It's because it's like I was watching this. Who sent that recently. Neelu ji sent us. Everybody watched that because Hindi में बहुत अच्छा वो पूरा वो सीरियल में से जो उन्होंने निकाल के दिया ना गीता का वो देखना तो उसमें ना when Sanjay got the Divya Drishti he could see the future too.
Yeah.
He can see all three, past, present, and future. So they made it a little more like a story. It's not, I don't know if it's in Mahabharata or not, it's not in Bhagavad Gita, where the king asked him, तुम तो देख सकते हो, तुम मुझे बताओ आगे क्या हुआ. He said, no, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
Because that's not, if God wanted it that
was the
way,
purpose of
you,
giving
you, you have to wait to know what has happened. Let the future come slowly, come out. I cannot tell you. You know? So those phenomena also exist when Arjun got Divya Drishti, he could see past, present, and future. Everything he could see.
Sanjay.
No.
No, Arjuna
Arjun.
also,
Oh, yeah.
because he
Virat
gave
Roop
him
jab usko
11th
dikhaya
chapter.
gaya. So then when you go to very technical stuff, you'll get very confused because what happened, chicken came first or egg came first. If somebody knows the future, that means they wrote the script. You can look at it that way if you want to. So from that perspective, script was written, name was given, then they acted out.
Maybe that's why the appropriate names were given, because it was a script that was
Written.
written.
Yeah,
first.
then it makes sense.
Yeah.
But
Otherwise,
in that ultimate sense, that's true. And like even for Ramayana, everybody hates Kaikai, right? Kaikai did this and Kaikai that. But if you go in the Puranic story, try to give this Brahmagyan. That's what he's. I think that's such an important point, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It teaches you the value of a guru
Yeah.
or a teacher.
And even in the worldly sense, if the person believes in what he says and does what he says, we definitely we have more impact on our mind what he says. Do you guys agree?
Yes.
Because sometimes they he's saying it but he doesn't do it. Even doctors, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
They are so much out of shape and they do such this thing. What is he saying? Is he following it? And that's why when Ramdev Baba came to America, I said, now this man does everything he says. Because he was so fit. He had just come from India and his body was just glowing like, amazing because he was just so fit. And he said that unko koi bukhar kuch nahi hota hai. Allergy kuch nahi hote because he actually, whatever he's preaching, he's following that.
Yeah, but not everybody can do it. They may
That's
want
not what
to
I'm
do it.
saying. I'm saying that I'm just making a point that a person who stands up in front of 5,000 people and says something and also is doing in his life,
Yeah.
his words are going to have more value.
There's
That
this
is-
little story.
That's what
Yeah.
it
There's
is. We're
this
not
little-
saying that everybody is in their own journey,
Yeah.
but we
Right.
get inspired by those kind of people.
Yes.
Not one who just does
Yeah,
lip
just to
service.
support your point, there's this little story कि गांधी जी के पास एक माँ बाप आए
हाँ, बहुत
है ना, उन्होंने
बताइए।
बच्चे को लेकर के और कहा कि हमारा बच्चा गुड़ बहुत खाता है. तो गांधी जी ने कहा अच्छा अगले हफ्ते आना. So they went back, they came back after a week. तो गांधी जी ने कहा बच्चे को कि बेटा गुड़ खाना अच्छा नहीं होता, तुम गुड़ खाना छोड़ दो. So the parents are like, we made a second trip all this distance. ये बात तो आप last week हम आए थे तभी बोल सकते थे. बोले नहीं, last week मैं खुद भी गुड़ खाता था. फिर after that I stopped eating it.
Right.
Then my words are going to have some effect. So you have to do first. You have to practice before you preach.
Right. And even with children, because some parents approached Swamiji, Chinmayanand ji, and said, how do I fix my children? Because they do all these, teenage men, they do such horrendous stuff. So he said, you don't need to fix your children, go fix yourself. So, because he said, they will do what you do, not what you say.
They learn by
Yeah, so
experience.
you better be a good example because they will slowly follow. Abhi rebellious lag rahe, eventually they'll come around, but you cannot say, oh, do this, do that, and then you go and do the opposite. So that's the point here. And one of the points that we already, because some of you don't have the books, is the conversational style that Gita is in exact same style as in Upanishad. Every Upanishad